and get started. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today for the Job Fair Success webinar workshop. We are the SJSU Career Center, and today we're going to be talking about our upcoming job fairs and how to help you prepare for the job fairs, to get registered and signed up for the job fairs, and also some tips of how to participate in the events. My name is Carrie McKnight. I'm one of the career counselors in the Career Center, and I'm joined by three of my coworkers who are going to be helping present with the session today and helping answer questions throughout the session. So I'd like to introduce my fellow staff members to jump in. Patrick, would like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Patrick Harris. I'm an employer engagement specialist with the Career Center. If you see myself or my coworker, Edlin Hernandez, hosting an information session or tech talk, we're the ones who generally run those events and invite employers to participate and meet students that way.
Thank you, Patrick. And I'd like to bring Claudia in to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Claudia Rico, and I'm the employer event specialist. So I deal mainly with career fairs. I try to bring employers along with Patrick and Edelin's help on board.
Thank you, Claudia. And then Judy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Judy Garcia. I'm a career counselor, also in the Career Center, and I actually primarily work with students in the College of Science and the College of Humanities and the Arts, but our whole team is here to support all students to be successful in their job and internship search. So nice to meet you all. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Judy, and thank you all for joining us today. And again, we're going to be talking about job fair success. So I'm going to go over in a moment here our agenda for our session this afternoon. A couple housekeeping things. Throughout the session, if you have questions, please put your questions in the Q&A feature. Patrick, Claudia, and Judy will be helping to respond to those questions throughout the session. As time permits, we will also pause towards the end to address any remaining questions. And as also we've mentioned in the chat, there is a link for you to sign in to log your attendance for our event today. Again, thank you for joining us. We're going to be talking about our job fairs and giving you tips on how to prepare for the job fairs, how to register and sign up for them, and tips on how to participate in our virtual job fairs this semester. So we're going to go ahead and dive in to our session. Again, if you have questions, please feel free to put those questions in the Q&A. So this is what we're going to be talking about today. So we're first going to be focusing on how to register and sign up for the fairs and find the fairs that you'd like to attend. We're going to be giving you some tips and suggestions about how to research the companies and employers that will be participating in our fairs this semester. We'll also be giving some information and some tips about how to develop your story. In other words, how to introduce yourself or do your professional pitch during the fairs. We'll be providing some information on how to attend, to participate in the events, and also a little bit of discussion how to do some follow-up and connect with the recruiters and hiring managers after the fair. So that's our agenda for our session today. So the first thing we want to do is help you think about what events you want to attend, how to find those fairs, and how to register and sign up for them. Here's our schedule for the semester. So we want to quickly go over our schedule with you to let you know what's upcoming and to help you figure out which job and internship fairs you'd like to attend. So our first fair is coming up right away tomorrow. In fact, it's our part-time job fair on Thursday, September 2nd. And registration actually is already opened up for that fair. And we'll be telling you more information if you haven't already registered, how to sign up and register for this event. And this event is open to all currently enrolled students. And at this job fair, there'll be opportunities to learn about part-time jobs on campus and off campus. So a variety of different types of employers will be attending, participating in this fair tomorrow, focused on recruiting for part-time opportunities. Beyond that, we have four other events happening this semester. On Wednesday, September 22nd, we have our STEM undergraduate job and internship fair. Registration for that event opens on September 15th. So you'll see that registration for these fairs open up 1 week in advance of the event. So we're going to talk again a little bit more about how you can sign up and register for these fairs. This fair, the STEM undergraduate fair, is open to undergraduate students in engineering, science, MIS, math students, technology students as well. So that is focused on STEM undergraduate students. The next event on Thursday, September 23rd is our grad STEM fair. This is for grad students in science, technology, and engineering. And this event is by invitation only, and registration opens up 1 week again for that event on September 15th. And if you are qualified to attend that fair and you're a STEM graduate student, you will receive or should already have received an invitation to attend that event. And then we also have our Business, Financial Services, and Logistics Fair for jobs and internships on Tuesday, September 28th. And registration opens on noon for that fair on September 21st. And that's open to all students who are non-STEM majors. And then finally, we have a new event this semester, a diversity career fair on Thursday, October 7th. And this event opens up for registration on the 30th of September, and all students are invited and welcome to attend the diversity career fair. So that's our schedule of our upcoming events, career fair, job fair events for this semester. And again, all of these events are virtual. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Patrick now, who's gonna give you an overview about how to register and sign up for the fairs. And this is all the fairs are via Handshake. And Patrick's gonna jump in and tell you a bit more about that.
Thank you very much. Also, to clarify a point, I realize I've been posting the URL that was not shared with everyone in the chat. My apologies. I just shared the check-in form in the chat, so if you've been looking for that, it should now be visible to everyone. My apologies for not making that more visible earlier. Okay. With that out of the way, how to register for virtual affairs. You'll be doing this through Handshake. You can see in the image in the upper left that this is what you're going to see here is the kind of the homepage of Handshake. This is like the current layout as it is. You want to look for like the tab that says events in the upper left corner, because events will include not only every recruiting event with info sessions and tech talks, but also all of our career fairs. Toward the top of that page, you'll see multiple filters that should by default say this week, this month, and one of those will say career fairs, and that will just list all of the SJSU career fairs that are open and at least accessible to view for the fall semester. Like Carrie mentioned, the registration dates may be later on in the fall, but for the time being, you can still at least view the employers for ones that aren't registered yet. Well, registration hasn't opened yet for them. And lastly, when you click on any of the career fairs, you'll be taken to that career fair page. You can view all the employers that will be attending. And if registration is open, like it is currently for the part-time job fair, that's tomorrow, there will be a registration button right there in the upper right corner, nice and purple. Next slide, please. Thank you. So after you've registered for the fair itself, that in itself will not be everything that you need to do, because once you registered for the fair, you will then also want to register to meet with specific recruiters for that day. So what you'll first need to do is make sure that your profile visibility is set to the correct specifications. Handshake should come up with like an automatic pop-up if it's not already set, and it'll look something like that in the picture. After that, you can view all of the available one-on-one and group sessions with the different employers that will be attending that career fair. It'll be whatever is like currently available, what time slots are left and available, and you can click them to schedule. And if you're not feeling ready to pick specific ones yet, you can go over. You can come back to this fair page later on. And click the tab that's called available sessions. And then you can see what's available at that time if you can't commit at this time. What this looks like, so if you ever go to the registration page or the career fair registration, and you're seeing an employer that you really like, but currently there's nothing available right now, keep in mind that these registrations are on a first come, first served basis. So if you know who you want to meet with now, please go ahead, register as soon as you can so you can claim a time slot as soon as you can. But if nothing is available, what you can do are a few things. One, just check back on Handshake every now and then to see if a time slot opens up for one-on-one or group session. Something you can do more passively is you can click on the employers themselves to look for what positions they're hiring for. And many of them have job postings in Handshake, so you can, even if you can't meet with them in person for the career fair, at least go ahead and just apply for the positions directly with them. And lastly, you can follow the employer on Handshake. There'll be like, when you click on the employer, there should be an option to follow them. That will notify you when there's any updates or changes with associated with the employer. not only if they ever post a new event in Handshake or have like a new job posting in Handshake, it'll also notify you if there's a session that opens up for the career fair you're registered for. So that could be a very quick notification, a way to be notified when those spaces open up. So follow the employer if there's currently no positions available or no sessions for the fair.
And then just to clarify, Patrick, so there's a mixture of one-on-one sessions and group sessions, and that's dependent on how the recruiter decides to sign up. Just a little more information on that in case students have questions.
That's right. Employers have their own preferences for whether they do completely just one-on-one sessions, or if they want to have a mix of 30-minute group sessions here and there, and they run all of their sessions in different ways among them too.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so that's an overview of how to select your fair and register and sign up for them. And again, they open up for registration 1 week in advance. And if you have other questions about this, we can come back to this part of the discussion as we go through a little later in our presentation today. Thank you, Patrick. Okay, so we want to move on a little bit and to talk about how you can prepare for this event. So once you decide which event you're going to attend or which career fair or job fair you're qualified to attend, and you can sign up and register and find out the companies and employers and organizations that will be participating in the fairs. We highly recommend that you spend some time doing some research to find out more about these companies and organizations so you can be prepared for some questions, thoughtful conversation with the recruiters or hiring managers that will be at the event. So step 2 in the process is to spend some time doing some research. So here's some things to think about to help you prepare and do some research to prepare your conversations with the recruiters at the fairs. So some things to think about would be, what kind of positions are they hiring for? If you're looking for jobs or internships, full-time jobs, part-time jobs, do some research in advance to find out about what they're hiring for, so you can prepare some thoughtful questions about those types of positions. Also do some research about what are some key qualifications and skills are they seeking for their jobs or their internships. So you can be more informed about that and prepare yourself for how you're going to introduce yourself and how you're going to interact with these employers at the fair. Also do some research to find out more about the company organization. What are they known for? And what is their reputation, their special awards or goals or initiatives that they're working on? So do some research in advance about that. Also try to find out about the company culture or the work environment. That will help you understand and prepare for your conversations. Also do some research to find out if there's some SGSU alumni working at these companies or organizations or employers. They might be able to give you some insights into the culture, the work environment, or gives you some tips in terms of how to interact with their recruiters or hiring managers. And finally, it's really important to find out about the mission, the goals, the vision, the values of companies and organizations that you're interested in. Think about how they align with your own vision and mission and values within your own career. And again, this will help you prepare for your conversations. And also, if you choose to apply for jobs or internships with these companies or organizations, will help you for the application process and help you prepare for interviews as well. So definitely take some time to do some research into the organizations that will be participating at our job fairs. A couple of different ways you can do your research. Obviously, you could go directly to their websites, learn more about them, their mission, their values, their goals, or go to their career pages on their websites to find out what kind of opportunities they're hiring for. In addition to going directly to their websites, you can also utilize LinkedIn and Handshake to do your research into the companies and employers that will be participating at the fairs this semester. One great place to do company research is LinkedIn. Obviously, incidentally, we want to make sure you do have a LinkedIn profile. It's very important while you are searching for jobs, doing your networking, to have an up-to-date LinkedIn profile. If you need help developing a profile or updating your profile, we in the Career Center can help support you with that. So when you're doing your research, you can go right into LinkedIn, log into your account, search for a company name, organization name within LinkedIn, and select that company or organization name from the drop-down within LinkedIn to learn more about them. And some kinds of things that you might want to do once you go into the company page on LinkedIn is you can follow them and find out about their announcements, new opportunities that they have coming up. Also, it shows up in your LinkedIn profile, the companies, organizations that you're following. So it's a great way to show your interest for those companies or those employers right there on your profile. Also, within the company pages, you can select other tabs to learn more about what they do. So you can learn about their jobs, their employees. Many of them have videos you can watch to get more insights in terms of like their work environment, their culture. So spend some time within LinkedIn researching these companies and employers, and also in addition going directly to their websites to learn more about them. And that will help you, again, prepare for your conversations and then decide where you really want to apply for your internships, your jobs going forward. While you're in while you're in LinkedIn, it's also great to do some research and to find out about where alumni are working. So if you go to the San Jose State University page within LinkedIn, there's an Alumni Search feature in there. And you can find alumni by searching for job titles, their degree titles, on skills, to help you identify alumni that might be working within your career field or industry, or also working for some of the companies, organizations that are participating in our upcoming job fairs. And on top of that, just a great way to do some networking to connect with alumni for career advice and career tips, or maybe even things like informational interviewing. So if you're using LinkedIn for your company employer research, also utilize the Alumni Search feature by going to the San Jose State page within LinkedIn and finding alumni in there to get some career advice and tips that help you with your job search. You can also do some research in Handshake based on the companies, organizations that are participating. And I'm going to invite Patrick to jump back in and tell us a little bit more about how to research companies within Handshake.
Simply, when you click on the employer, you'll be taken to their employer page where Handshake presents a tremendous amount of information. If you find like a larger or like more popular employer, you'll tend to find like a lot more student feedback in a few ways. One is like that Handshake now has a built-in review feature by students. You can see students who have had past experience with that company and have like posted the reviews about like what their work was like at that company. In addition, I know that they also have like a Q&A feature as well, where students can ask questions about the company culture, about the internship or job programs, about the application process, and recruiters from that company will like just publicly answer them, and it'll be like part of their employer page. You can find a lot of those details on the employer page in Handshake.
Okay, thank you. And then to find those employers, if you're looking at a job fair, virtual fair event, the list of employers will appear there, and then students can just click on them to find more information. Is that how it works?
That's right.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Yeah. In addition, to LinkedIn, Handshake, of course, Glassdoor is another website where you can get insights into the company culture, organization. Employees post information about the interview process. Interns post information about their experiences interning at various companies or organizations on Glassdoor. So there's a lot of tools and resources out there for you to gather information about employers to help prepare for job fairs, and in terms of just preparing for your job search and internship search in general. Okay, so we've talked about how to select the job fairs that you want to attend or that you're qualified to attend, how to register and sign up for them on Handshake, how to do additional research in terms of who's coming to the fair, learn more about these companies or organizations, about their opportunities, their culture, their mission, etc. So once you've done all of that research and you're getting ready to attend the event, we suggest you do some other things to help prepare. And one of them is to develop your story. And this is really to help you do what's called a professional pitch, or also known as an elevator speech. And this is where you'd be introducing yourself in a one-on-one session, or maybe even a group session during the virtual fair. And so we're going to give you some tips and advice about how to put together your story and how to put that into a professional pitch that you can use to introduce yourself during the events. Okay, so components of your story that you can use to really put together your pitch. So here's a few things to think about that you might want to include in your story that eventually you could put together in your pitch or your elevator speech that you could use while attending the virtual job fairs. So here's some things to think about you might want to include. Of course, you'd want to mention the program or major. This example is a business administration student with a concentration in marketing. You also want to be able to share a little bit about what your interests are. What are some of your career interests? This student's interested in getting into digital marketing. The types of positions you're seeking, if they're jobs or internships. This student example is a student who's interested in doing an internship and related to social media. So you want to think ahead about, what are your interests and what are kind of desired roles or positions or jobs are you seeking at the time? You also want to be able to share a little bit within your story, within your professional pitch about some of your experiences. So it could be work experiences, campus jobs, volunteering, other internships you might have already held, or even things like participation in student clubs or organizations. So this student within their story would like to mention that they're a member of the marketing club. And part of that, they've organized social media campaigns. So sharing a little bit about some of your experiences that would be relevant to that particular company that you're approaching or talking with at the fair. And then also we're talking about missions and values of an organization. Think about what are your own mission, what are your own career values, and think about how you might include that when you're describing who you are within your story. So this student example, student mentions they love figuring out ways to connect people with interesting technologies. They're interested in employers that value innovation and positive customer experiences. So this student is thinking about how their own mission and values align with that of the employer based on their research, and they might want to share that within their professional pitch. So we have some examples of what this might look like. So here's an example of a student introducing themselves to a recruiter during a job fair. And these are, just examples, and these are the kinds of things that you might want to obviously think about ahead of time. Type it out, write it out, think about it ahead of time, practice it. And then one of the things you want to do is practice in advance, but you don't want it to sound too scripted with it. So you might want to practice with a friend, spend a little time working on it. You might have different variations of your pitch based on who you're speaking with at the time. And you want to keep these to about 30 seconds to 1 minute at most. And this again be ways that you would introduce yourself in your interactions during the fair with a recruiter or a hiring manager. So this student says, "Hi, I'm Andrew, nice to meet you." And he brings up a few key points based on that previous slide that he'd like to share as part of his professional pitch. So he shares that he's an economics major, that he's really interested and excited about using data analytics and applying that to marketing. So that again, that's some of his interests and his passions or his career goals that he might have at the time. And then he talks about a little bit more information about in the classroom. I've been working with data ranging from looking at heart rates all the way to median household value. He talks about how he's crunched and cleaned data, which allows him to also make predictions based on those results. So a few little key things that he's been involved in, his major, some of his interests, some of his activities. And then the recruiter might say, "Great to meet you, Andrew. Thank you so much for scheduling a session with me today. Please tell me more about yourself." So in that case, the recruiter is opening up an opportunity for you to say a little more detail about your interest and a little more extended version of your professional pitch. So it might look something like this. So the student might respond with, currently have a lot of classroom experience, but I'm really now seeking to get some more professional hands-on experience with, like, for example, a summer internship. And then he gets a little more into detail about what he knows about the company employer from his research that we mentioned earlier, and connects that to his own interests. So this example is a student who's interested in working with Amazon. So he says, "I know that Amazon does a lot of data analytics, applying it to marketing to optimize online user experiences, and then wondering what kind of internships you might have connected to that, or tell me more about your internship program." So he's laying out a little bit more about what his interests are and what his career goals are, the types of things that he's interested in, and then segues into a question to engage conversation with a recruiter. So the recruiter could respond with, "Hey, great, you've got some really good experiences. We definitely have internship opportunities related to your interests." She mentions that she saw that he uploaded his resume and Handshake, which is something we highly recommend that you do. And then she asked a follow-up question. "Tell me more about some of your projects I see on your resume. They're related to data analytics and marketing and some of your areas of interest." So again, this is just an example of how you might introduce yourself initially when you come into your sessions with the recruiters, some follow-up other information you might want to provide as part of your professional pitch, and then allowing the recruiter come in and engage with them, asking them questions, thoughtful questions that you prepared through your research. And we highly recommend that you practice this in advance, like I suggested. It really works different ways. For some students, it might make sense to just have some bullet points that they can just refer to help you practice through that, or actually typing it out and working through that and practicing with a friend. Also, you can connect with us in the Career Center. We meet with students individually to help you with your professional pitch. So that's something we're available to help you with as well. So take some time in advance to work on this. It can help alleviate some of the nerves that you might have if you've practiced it and you kind of know what you're going to say in advance and prepare for your sessions with recruiters or hiring managers. And professional pitches are really important, and even outside of job fairs, just interacting at networking events or conferences, other events that you might be attended, career-related events. So having prepared way to introduce yourself is really important in terms of your career development and your job search. Okay, so now we're going to segue into, you've done your research, you've signed up, prepared your pitch, you're ready to go. The day comes, and so we're going to talk a little bit about some tips in terms of actually participating in the fair once the time comes. Okay, so before the fair, either a couple days in advance, check out what we call your virtual studio. So you want to make sure you have really good lighting. These are virtual events. So check your lighting, check your background, have that set up in advance. You want to make sure you have just a very plain background, or as this slide shows, maybe a background that has a couple of nice photos or pieces of art, a stack of books that's got a nice touch in the background to prepare for this professional event. And then you also might want to test that out, go on Zoom, maybe with one of us in the Career Center or a friend or a mentor, just to make sure you've got good lighting, you've got a professional setup in your virtual studio. And then we also recommend that you have the latest version of Chrome or Firefox to participate in the virtual fairs. It's a good idea to think ahead about how you're going to dress. So professional attire and professional grooming is really important. And I have an additional slide here to talk a little bit more about how you might dress. And then once you're logged in and you're participating, be mindful of a couple things. One important thing is to keep your eye focused on the camera when you're communicating and talking with recruiters or others during the fair. Be mindful of nonverbal cues. So think about making sure you're nodding and you're smiling and you're gesturing and you're participating in the conversations. And then just also a good idea to prepare to answer some common questions, like common interview questions. And towards the end of the presentation, share some information about how you can get a list of some common questions. And those are things like, tell me about yourself, what are your top skills and strengths, what are your career goals, why are you interested in our company or organization. So prepare some common questions in advance. You might be asked those during your sessions. And then take notes as you're participating. Take notes throughout the event. That will help you when you're thinking about doing some follow-ups or communicating with the recruiters after the event. So prepare your virtual studio. Think about how you're going to dress. Maybe practice a little bit virtually to make sure your background looks good and your lighting's good. And have some notepad or a way to take notes available during the event so you can prepare for your kind of follow-ups that you might do after the event. Okay, so back to professional attire. And this is a virtual event, but it's still important to be dressed professionally for the event. So this slide gives some examples of different types of professional attire that might be appropriate for job fairs or also for interviews. You see a variety of different images here, everything from what we consider more business casual to formal business attire. Choose what you feel is most comfortable for you, but definitely have a nice shirt or blouse with a collar. Think about the colors that you're wearing. Think about proper grooming. Wear something that looks professional, but also something you feel comfortable in. So I'd say in advance, you might want to, again, kind of practicing setting up your virtual studio. You might try on a couple different options for professional attire so you feel comfortable and you look well-groomed and professional for the day of. So again, that's something to think about in advance and make sure you're prepared for that during the event. And it will make a difference. And the recruiters will notice the students who've taken time to dress professionally and be well groomed and prepared for the event. So definitely take some time to think about it, prepare for how you're going to dress, and prepare your virtual studio. Okay, so now we were prepared, we're ready to go. We are about to start our sessions. A couple little things to note here. If at the time comes and you're coming into your sessions, we on our website, the Career Center website, we have a live chat that is available Monday through Friday, 9 to 4, all the time anyway, where you can ask questions of us at any time during business hours. But during the fair, we'll be fully staffed on our live chat to answer any questions you might have. So if you have technical issues, or maybe you're just feeling a little nervous and you want to check in with our staff, feel free to use the live chat. And we also, during our events, have a student Zoom room where you can come in throughout the fairs and ask us any kind of questions. If you're having technical issues, maybe you want to quickly practice your professional pitch with one of us, you can do that. We are available during the events to help assist you. We want to make sure you are successful attending our job fairs. So we're there to support you before, during, and after the job fairs. And we highly recommend that you log in about 15 minutes prior to your sessions just to test out the things we're mentioning. You know, how you make sure your audio's working, your visuals are working, that you feel comfortable with the technology. So log in early to prepare. And again, check in with us if you have any questions before going into your sessions. While you're participating, in addition to things I already mentioned, like remaining with eye contact and gesturing and smiling and being engaged, also be aware of your mute. It's recommended that you remain on mute most of the time, just in case you have any background noise or unexpected sounds in your space. Be aware of that. So stay on mute most of the time, unless, again, you're introducing yourself or you're engaging and interacting with our staff or the recruiters from the companies or maybe other students. But most of the time, remain on mute, but just be aware of if you're muted or unmuted throughout the fair. And then keep your camera on. Most of the employers, recruiters, hiring managers are going to have their cameras on, but some may not for whatever reasons. But we highly recommend that you keep your camera on. And that way you can show off your fantastic outfit that you put together and your background, and you can smile and show your excitement and interest in their company and organization. So keep your camera on throughout your sessions. And then just introduce yourself, as we've already discussed, as appropriate, as timing is appropriate. Be prepared to introduce yourself using your professional pitch or elevator speech, again, when appropriate throughout your sessions. So a lot of this takes a little preparation to get ready, to be ready for the event. But again, we're always there to support you throughout the day, throughout the event. You know, go into the student Zoom room or go to our live chat if you have any questions or any technical issues that may arise. Couple other notes about sort of kind of things to consider in terms of etiquette at the fair. It's really important to put our best foot forward, our best professional self forward through these events. These are opportunities for you to connect with maybe some companies, organizations you've always really wanted to meet and you're really interested in working for or really interested in interning with. So this is really important for you to put your best foot forward in terms of professional etiquette. So we highly recommend that when you participate, you find a quiet, confidential, private space as much as you can when you're participating. Throughout the event, also very important just to show respect to everyone that you engage with. If it's other students, it's the employers, the recruiters, our staff in the Career Center, remaining professional and respectful in your communications and being polite and thankful and gracious with everyone that you interact with. This is your professional image that you're putting out there. So it's very important that you maintain a positive attitude and polite language and be respectful to others throughout the event. And try to remain calm. I know everyone might be a little nervous, so if you can, try to remain calm and do some deep breathing and often smiling. I always find that smiling can kind of help release some of that nervous energy. So smiling and breathing and remain positive throughout the event is really important. And observing, of course, any of student conduct code throughout any of our Career Center events. And also be very mindful of start times and end times. You want to be on time and you want to wrap up on time as well. These are very busy events. And so our recruiters have, other students they need to meet with, they have group sessions, individual sessions, so be very respectful of their time. And also it requires of you also to be patient. There might be times the recruiter's running behind schedule and you might have to wait a little bit. And that's just sometimes how it happens. So just be respectful of time, start times, end times. If you need to make a change, you cannot make an appointment or one of your sessions. Something comes up, please cancel your sessions as much in advance as possible, because many of them are going to be booked up and completely full. So we really appreciate you canceling those sessions so that other students can come in and sign up for any open sessions during or right before the event. And also, it's again a professional thing to do, to be mindful of time or to cancel a session if you're unable to make it. So again, just be mindful about being professional, having respect for others, and having professional etiquette during the event. Okay, so we have a kind of last sort of section here, and then we'll have some time for some questions that might be coming in. So another important thing is, what are you going to do after the fair? So you attended the job fairs, you've prepared your pitch, and you've had some really great interactions with some of the employers and the recruiters, and you're really excited about the opportunities that you've learned more about. And now the thing is, what are you going to do next? It's very important to follow up and stay connected as much as you can to anybody that you met at the fair, particularly those that you're really serious about applying to their positions. So think ahead about follow-ups and plan for the way you want to follow up and connect with these companies or organizations after the event. Those can also be some of the most important things you can do to make a lasting impression with these recruiters if you do some professional follow-up and communications with them. Okay, some things to think about. So during the event, I mentioned, take some notes to track your communications, your conversations as much as possible. Again, it's kind of busy during the event, but just jot down as many notes that might be helpful for you. But then right afterwards, take some time to take some notes about who you interacted with, what those conversations were about, what kind of opportunities you learned about, why it's fresh in your mind. So take notes during, and definitely some notes afterwards. And this will help you with the proper types of communications and follow-ups that you might want to do. As much as possible right away, if you have contact information, follow up with those that you met, for the company representatives and the recruiters. So thank you notes is a very nice professional touch. If they've given you their email address and they've said it's okay for you to contact them directly through email, send them a nice thank you note. Thank you so much for participating in the SJSU STEM Fair. I learned so much about your company or organization. I would love to keep in touch with you regarding the internships. We discussed something of that nature. A direct email if they've given you that information, or LinkedIn. Find them on LinkedIn. Ask to connect with them with a nice personalized note. If they respond and they connect with you, then follow up with another note, again, thanking them for attending our fairs and any kind of follow-up information that you might want to share with them after the event. So very important to right away send some thank you notes to those that you've talked with at the fair. Keep track of these follow-up communications. So one of the things you might want to do is create a spreadsheet or something like that with, the companies, organizations, employers that you talked with or met with at your sessions during the fairs, some notes about those conversations, how those went, and then track your follow-up activities. So if you send an email or you connect with them on LinkedIn, or maybe they asked you to send your resume to them directly, have a way of keeping track and some notes of what your follow-up activities are with those organizations. That's really going to help you stay organized when you start to apply for the jobs and internships that you're interested in after the event. So keeping track of your communications is really important, part of the process as well. And then just continue after the fairs, continue checking on Handshake for additional job postings, internship postings that the employer might have updated or added after the event. So keep checking back in Handshake after the job fair to learn more about ongoing opportunities with these companies and organizations. And then if you have success at applying and interviewing with the companies, organizations that attended the fairs, and they also give you an offer, once you accept an offer, then you need to stop the process and stop interviewing. So it's very a good professional etiquette to, once you've interviewed and accepted an offer, to stop applying and stop interviewing for other opportunities and accept the exciting new opportunity that has come your way. Here's an example of a follow-up message that a student might send. So this is through LinkedIn with Lynn, who's a technical recruiter. And first you'd want to maybe message Lynn if you're not connected with her already in LinkedIn and ask to connect with her. And if she accepts your connection invitation, you might follow up with something like, "Dear Lynn, it was a pleasure meeting you at the SJSU STEM Career Fair. I really like to stay connected with you, given our conversation about your need for analytics interns, and also connected to our conversation related to my experience in data crunching and predictions. I've submitted my resume and handshake. I look forward to hearing from you." So just a great follow-up of saying how much you enjoyed meeting her, perhaps adding in there, thanking her for attending and spending time with us about the job fair, refreshing her memory a little about the conversation that you might have had about the internships or job opportunities that you discussed, and letting her know that you have submitted your resume via handshake, or perhaps sent it to her directly if that's what she asked, and that you look forward to hearing from her. Give it a little time. These recruiters and hiring managers are very busy during recruiting season, particularly after they attend job fairs. They might have, talked to hundreds of students potentially. So give them a little time. They might not respond right away, but follow up maybe within a couple of weeks or so to make sure she received your message, or the recruiter received your message. But if you don't hear back from that a certain period of time, that's okay. Just move on and connect with other recruiters and hiring managers, employers that you might have met at the fair. But definitely send an initial communication, connect with them, and stay connected with them throughout your job search, internship search going forward. Okay, here's some little tips on some next steps, some things you can do after the event. We've got a lot of really valuable resources in the Career Center to help you prepare for job fairs and for your job and internship searches in general. One of the things you could do right away before the event or after the event is upload your resume on VMock. You can receive automatic personalized feedback on your resume right there through VMock, and you can link to that right through the Career Center website. You can also meet with our career counselors individually for resume reviews. So we have a lot of students right now scheduling appointments, getting ready for our job fairs. So definitely check out VMock or schedule an appointment for individual resume and LinkedIn reviews. So you want to check that out. Also look at our Career Center guides. We have a series of PDF downloadable printable guides that are available on the Career Center website. And they are everything from a job and internship search guide, which has a section on networking, which is really important as part of your job search process to do some networking. We have a resume cover letter guide with resume samples based on program and major, tips on how to write resumes and cover letters within that guide. So check out the guides on our website. We have several other guides as well. We have tips on helping students prepare for interviewing. So after you've had success at the job fair, our hope is that you would have some interviews coming up right after that. So one of the next steps would be to spend some time preparing for job or internship interviews. We have an interview guide, again, downloadable PDF guide with tips on how to answer common questions and things like behavioral questions, how to prepare for interviews. There's a worksheet within the interview guide. You can practice answering different types of questions within the guide. And we also have another resource for interviewing called Big Interview. And this is a website that's very in-depth, robust site that helps students prepare for job interviews, internship interviews, also a variety of other types of interviews. Lots of tips and resources and videos in there you can watch to prepare for interviews. Plus there's a component on Big Interview. You can actually record yourself doing a mock interview online through that platform. So highly recommend you check out those interviewing tools, the resources that we have. And we also meet individually with students to do mock interviews as well. So that's something you could schedule individually with your career counselor through Spartan Connect. And then continue to check on Handshake. In addition to the job and internship fairs, we have other employer sessions throughout the semester that you can sign up and register on Handshake to connect with and learn more about companies or organizations, learn about their opportunities through those upcoming other employer connection events. And as I already mentioned, for additional help, schedule appointments with your career counselor through Spartan Connect. And Spartan Connect is where you also can make appointments with academic advisors. You might already be familiar with Spartan Connect. You can find your career counselor on there. And we are offering this semester both virtual via Zoom and in-person appointments in the Career Center. So definitely check that out if you'd like to get individual help with resumes, LinkedIn profiles, interview prep, even researching the company's organizations. Many of the things that we've talked about in our session today, you can also connect individually with your career counselor for help on those areas as well. Okay, I'd like to just take a moment here to see if we have any questions that are coming in that maybe we'd like to address those. This slide shows where we're located on the campus. Also, it has our general email, careerhelp@sjsu.edu. You can send any questions you have about anything we've discussed today or other career-related questions to careerhelp@sjsu.edu. And if you want to use your phone on our QR code, you can connect with our social media, link to our website and social media through that QR code. So I just want to invite either Patrick, Claudia, Judy to come in if there's any common questions or questions that may be coming in through Q&A or chat that we might want to address.
For general questions about registration, like the two answers I've been giving, well, for registering for career fairs, one is that remember that registration for each of these career fairs opens a week before their scheduled times. So if there's the business fair on September 28th, that's going to open on September 21st. That's when registration opens. So you might not be able to register for that yet, but you can, in the meantime, check out what employers will be attending and maybe come up with a game plan of what you want to register for then. And how to register for any of them is just simply go to Handshake, click on the events tab, filter by career fair, and you'll be able to see all of our upcoming fall semester career fairs.
Thank you, Patrick. Any other questions that are coming up? General common questions or questions that something we might have missed through our presentation or other topic areas that might be coming in on chat?
It's mostly been about the fair registrations.
Okay.
I want to confirm that is Spartan Connect indeed the current way to register appointments with counselors? Like,
yes. So you can find your career counselor and make an appointment on Spartan Connect. If you have questions about how to do that, feel free to reach out to us on the live chat feature that I mentioned. You can also send an email to the careerhelp@sjsu.edu email that's here on the screen currently. We can step you through how to sign up to meet with a career counselor via Spartan Connect. You can also, on the Career Center website, you can find your career counselor by going into a link for career counseling on the Career Center website. You can find your counselor there. If you want to send them a direct email, if you had a quick question, you could also do that. Or if you wanted to find out about if their availability for appointments and that kind of thing. But we recommend if just going right into Spartan Connect to make that appointment with your career counselor.
thank you. We're starting to get some questions here. I have a good question for Claudia, as she's the career fair coordinator here. Can non-STEM students register for the STEM job fair? And the student asks, and vice versa, which I assume means can STEM students apply for career fairs that aren't the STEM fair?
It kind of yes and no. It depends on their because how the fair is set up. Some of the STEM related majors are allowed to the other fairs. Well, we're not talking about the diversity, but the diversity, everyone could go. It's open to everyone, STEM and non-STEM related majors. But the business fair, it depends on the employers how they set up their qualifications on majors.
Gotcha. So if you're a STEM student and you want to make sure, like, am I eligible for the business fair? The question is, please check into what the employers are attending at the business fair and see whether your major falls under what they're looking for.
Yes, and also MIT is one of the ones that it's actually allowed to most of the fairs because of how it is kind of like in a business and then also in STEM. So those for sure, they would be able to attend.
Thank you. The other question was, can non-STEM students attend the STEM fair?
Again, it's only MIT. MIT is the one. It's kind of
Gotcha.
like the same thing depending on the employer qualifications.
Okay, thank you. If for any reason you are still like strongly interested in any of these employers that are attending the STEM career fair, by all means, you should still have access to the employer list. Please check them out in Handshake. They do post many of their other positions to Handshake. And regardless of whatever preferences or qualifications they set for a career fair, you can still apply for whatever's on their job postings in Handshake, as well as any other career platforms that they have for job postings.
And also, some employers are attending business and STEM fairs, so
Very true.
it's kind of like.
Thank you. While we're on the topic of different types of fairs, could either Patrick or Claudia, could you just mention what's coming potentially for the spring that for different programs and majors? I know we have the education, social services, health related. So in other words, each semester we have different themed fairs. So if there is a job fair that you're interested in that may be more connected to your program major, also check out what we have coming for spring. I don't know if you have any updates or insights there, but just to let students know, we offer throughout the academic year a variety of different types of job and internship fairs. Okay.
I would just like to add the importance of using Handshake. So we don't just post career fairs on Handshake, but there's so much other information. So I would encourage all of you that are looking for jobs and internships to use Handshake actively and look for opportunities even for the future. But also check out our events and workshops and everything else that we have going on through the Career Center, because the more informed you are, the better a candidate, the more stronger a candidate you're going to be in the long run. And Handshake is terrific. So absolutely recommend that you take the time, maybe every week, carve out some time to just focus on Handshake and stay up to date.
Thank you. Thanks, Judy. Just going to advance slide. This is if you had a moment to give us feedback about our session today, there's a link there. You can use the QR code just to let us know about our session today. Any feedback you have there. And then we have a couple more minutes. I don't know if there's any other questions popping in. We could take a minute or two to see if there's anything else that we might have missed or any other common general questions that might be coming in.
So there is a question about I think it's about the graduate STEM fair. A student, it says on September 23rd, there is a job fair, but it says I am not eligible and should be invited by the employers. How to join such a fair?
Okay, so for graduate STEM students, the fair is open to students who meet certain criteria. For example, it's typically second-year students. There's a GPA criteria qualification for that, along with a couple other qualifications that we receive a list of students who qualify from the deans of College of Engineering, College of Science, for example. So if you haven't received an invitation for that fair, you're unsure if you're qualified, you can reach out to me directly. I'm Carrie McKnight, carrie.mcknight@sjsu.edu. I'm the career counselor for graduate students, or also send a message to that general career help at sjsu.edu. We can help you explore whether or not you're qualified for that particular STEM graduate fair.
Great, thank you.
And just coming to our last slide to thank all of you for participating. We'll stay on for just a couple more minutes or so if there are any remaining questions that are coming in. But thank you so much for joining us today on our session about preparing for our job fairs this semester. We look forward to seeing you and at the job fairs and other events throughout the semester. Again, we're here to support you. We're available throughout the events or before or even after. If you have questions about do your follow-ups or connections after the event, we're here to support you in the Career Center. We want you to be successful and enjoy your experience attending our virtual fairs. So please reach out with any remaining questions that you might have. And we wish you luck and your participation at these events this semester.